So good morning and welcome to Coquitlam Heritage's Capturing Moments, Chronicling Our Lives artist panel. My name is Kendrina Bailey. I'm the executive director here at Coquitlam Heritage. And our aim when curating this exhibit was to gather works of art that capture significant moments in our lives. And certainly COVID has been sort of foisted onto our regular lives over the last year. This has led many people to use art to capture historic moments in time, and some of the art in capturing moments reflects the pandemic, but many pieces do reflect other significant moments as well. Today, I will be speaking to two of the artists whose work will be at Plastis Art in Coquitlam, and I will begin our discussion by introducing our artists, and then we'll transition into a bit of a conversation. Kathleen Tennant is a licensed mixed media artist who loves the way torn paper meshes with paints and inks. Kathleen's work is full of color and texture, which represents life as she sees it, torn edges and all. Her art often incorporates words and everyday feelings to create messages of gratitude, hope, love, and even loss. Throughout her art, Kathleen tries to inspire people to focus on the positives in life and toss any worries into the wind. Her art is sold worldwide, and Kathleen lives in Coquitlam.
Yeah.
And then Rose Cap is a professionally educated graphic designer and illustrator. She has created advertising artwork for clients for over 35 years. In recent years, she has focused on illustration, cartooning, and special projects, including the Worry Bird cartoons, wonky building renderings, and realistic people portraits. She works in hand media, so color pencils, ink, controlled watercolor. Can you control watercolor? Can you do that?
Oh, yes, you can.
As well as computer graphics and illustration. And she too lives in Coquitlam. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today. So I guess I just wanted to start by hearing a little bit about how you're doing and how your year has been. And maybe Rose, do you want to start us out on that?
Well, I mean, I work from home already. I consider myself semi-retired because as an artist, you never really retire.
Mm-hmm.
So it really hasn't changed all that much, except that, of course, there's no gathering of artists during openings. So I kind of miss the social interaction of that. And occasionally, of course, I do like going to coffee shops and being out and about. So that's been a little bit trying.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. The spontaneity of life has really been smudged, and that's been challenging. Kathleen, how about you?
Well, it started off a little angst filled, but it's sort of regulated itself, and sort of once you sort of got over that initial what the heck is going on, we kind of fell into a groove. And I am a classic introvert, so for me it was fine. Like the not going out, and it was like perfect, really. Right. But I do have two kids. They're older, like 20 and 17, so trying to manage them, and one is still in high school, so that's a little bit unnerving. And one did get COVID. So there was that too, but she's totally fine. Yeah. And but it was definitely a learning experience. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of positive came from it, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think COVID sort of changed the way you do your artwork at all, or?
Well, at the beginning, I had like no creative juices whatsoever. So it was kind of stunting in that matter. Like I just was like, I have no desire to create anything, which was strange for me, because usually I'm sort of jumping in and out whenever I can to try and create something. So it did put a little bit of a damper. And then I went to trying to work, I do everything by hand. So doing things in Photoshop, my skills are very, very limited. So I did sort of ease in utilizing Photoshop and trying to teach myself a few things, just trying to, get out of that little slump. And it did work, actually. It totally worked. And yeah, I went back to the paint.
One of the things that was helpful at the beginning of 2020 was the Opus had a February challenge to draw every day. They gave you prompts and things like that. And that really sparked, especially at the beginning, to do something. And I came up with some really, because I draw every day anyway, using the prompts and sharing was a lot of fun. And so that kind of kept the juices going forward.
Yeah, you needed something.
Yeah.
Like, because life was just so stagnant.
Well, that, and we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how we were going to fare through this. So it was a bit scary.
For sure.
Until they, these precautions were put in, the mask wearing, the things in the stores, because of course the stores all shut down for a while there until they had things in place.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, the environment around us was unstable. And so to create art and even post things on social media, you didn't want to, like, from a selling standpoint, I sell my stuff, my books and my gratitude journals and cards, and I didn't want to promote anything because it was like not the time. And you just were like trying to navigate those waters of when you could start reintroducing that. And I actually have kept it to a minimum. And I didn't actually have any issues because I do make condolence cards. And sadly, they sold like hotcakes this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did either of you have trouble getting supplies for your art, or because you were talking about how, some of the stores closed down, and was that a challenge at all for either of you?
It was for me because everybody was buying paint. So when you go to buy your usual things that maybe you ran out of a certain yellow that you like, or it was like, oh, well.
I did a little bit. I use a lot of pencil crayon or colored pencil. And the supplies weren't coming up from wherever they come from. So I still notice that some stores don't really, really don't have supply.
Yeah, there's definitely a production disruption bringing products in, even groceries, right? Like some of the shelves are like, I went looking for pineapple the other day and Save on Foods near us had none. It was like everybody was on a pineapple spree, but it was, they can't get it in, right? So it was the same with art supplies.
Yeah. Did you come across any other challenges in your practice over the last couple months, or and how has that eased, if it has?
Not too much.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I started a new venture. I started doing cards. The biggest problem with cards and anything is distribution, getting it out to the stores. And because I don't want to sell online unless to sell something online like a card, it's, a $5 card, then you mail it, there's no money. It's only if it's bigger amounts. So not having stores open for a while, there was a bit of a concern, but things are now actually better because a lot of stores now are definitely showing things online. And same with galleries. Before, galleries just didn't even have openings online. They didn't talk to the artists. So even something like this, where you're actually talking and meeting artists, you get to meet them face to face, have a conversation, or even just listen to other artists. It's something new. And a lot of galleries are thinking of carrying it on and also listing things online, such as Plaster Art did have a Positively Petite. You could actually buy online, which was a new thing for them.
Yeah, that's positive, because a lot of people, they do lose out on that online market, and with everybody being online, it is a great way for artists to continue to have their work shown and being able to purchase online as well. So it's good.
So has your art changed in a significant, I mean, you both said that you've added things on, but do you think you'll do things differently in the future carrying on? Because you've touched on that some of the galleries are doing that. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing to kind of take and move forward rather than.
I don't think, I'm always open to, different options and different adventures to go on type thing. But for now, I like the way things are. Like I do, I wouldn't change anything, no. There's always new things coming at you, which who knows? But with respect to COVID, no.
I think most artists are a reflection of what's going on. Artists tend to be observant. Writers are the same way. They see things around, they react to them. So even this exhibition of capturing moments is things like, in my case, I actually was journaling already for the last 5 years by doing cartoons. And yes, the things around you, whether it's drinking coffee or being out in the garden or the weather, affects my cartoons. So why wouldn't COVID? I mean, United States politics, not so much. I usually look at the humorous side of things, cartoons, naturally, the raw observations of people being contrary or silly or whatever, or my own reactions. The stuff in the States just bothers me. So I can't see anything really funny about it. So like I say, artists tend to reflect what's going on amongst them. So
I would agree with you. I would agree. Like most artists create based on how they're feeling, and it comes through in their artwork. So regardless of what's going on, and it could be like your personal life would also dictate how you create, whether it's from sadness or like pure joy, or humor. It all comes through. So as things change, news events, your daily life, like gardening, go out, you see a pretty flower, you're going to want to get inspired by the colors of that flower or the detail within the flower. And there's always something that will inspire, just going out for a walk.
Right. Well, with us, we wanted to, Coquitlam Heritage, we wanted to capture as we could. It's hard to capture as it's going, but we wanted to encourage people to capture as this historical thing was happening, because of course it is. This is something that people will study in another 20 or 30 years. So one of the ways we wanted to do that is by commissioning a couple of pieces of art, because art, as you know, has been used historically to capture moments and to be part of the historical record. So we're really thankful that both of you came forward with your artwork. And I'm wondering if maybe you can talk a little bit about the piece you actually, or the pieces that you actually put together for us. Rose, maybe we'll start with you.
Well, I did a series of cartoons, and I did one watercolor painting that's larger. And basically, the birds are us. We are, rather than drawing people, birds, for some reason, I launched onto these silly birds, and which each of us are, the one major piece where we're all on our own little planets and we're all a little bit concerned floating in space here. So that was that one. But then just the others are just commentaries of either being alone, being inside. I had one where my neighbor kept inviting me to pool parties with lots of people, and I'm just like, stay away, and that's exactly, just because people are people. And that's, again, from the series of cartoons, how I feel about some of these things.
Yeah. Cartoons really do give you the opportunity to look at human nature in a really quirky, fun way, right? In a way that you're not really, you're definitely showing the reality of it, but not in a defensive kind of way, or you're not making people defensive in your observations.
Well, I'm a total optimist. Introvert, yes, a functioning one. But I always try to see the funny side of things. So that comes out, I hope. And I try to make them colorful and decorative and lighthearted.
Yeah, they're fun. They're beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for participating in this. It's been really, really nice to have those pieces go into our permanent collection. So Kathleen, what about your pieces?
Mine was created based on from like an art therapy or art as therapy perspective.
Yeah.
And so it was art journaling done like in a mixed media collage. So I took some pages from the early days of art journaling and I sort of incorporated them into the final larger painting.
Yeah.
And it starts off kind of gloomy at the top because that's how we all felt. It was a little cloudy and wasn't a whole lot of color in the world. And then it sort of, as things sort of eased, it went from sort of a negative to a positive.
Yeah.
And I hope that was captured. And, you know, the top part is kind of darker. And then the bottom is super colorful with flowers.
Yes.
But yeah.
Definitely hopeful and joyful at the bottom. And
yeah, finding gratitude in, you know, the dark times, and shows the anxiety at the beginning that most people felt. And I was able to, because my daughter did get COVID, we had to go get the COVID test. So I did incorporate some of the leaflet that they passed out, you know, the Fraser Health. And so I incorporated little bits and pieces. So there's lots to look at.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. All your pieces, all like for both of you, there is a lot to look at and to digest, and they're good historical representations as well as, of course, artistic representations of the time. So yeah, we really appreciate that.
It was fun to do, actually.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It was nice to have a focus point. And when I did see the call for it, I was like, and I don't enter these things very often, ever, actually. And I'm like, I'm gonna do this one. This one speaks to me, and I'm gonna go for it. So yeah, I was happy to have the focus.
Good.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to participate, Rose?
Well, I saw it and I was already doing it.
Right.
A lot of my cartoons were of the subject of living through these times.
Yeah.
So it was just natural. In other words, if this hadn't come up, I still would have been doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I actually have quite a number of COVID, summertime, weather-related things all the time. Like I say, I do a cartoon a day. Yeah. And if I'm really motivated, I'll do a bunch, you know. So like one of them I just did recently was one of my birds is in a deep sea diving outfit. And it says, dress for Vancouver weather, you know. And it was on that day of the storm. Guy's got the coffee tank on the back and stabilizers for the gusty winds. And so, like I say, I just...
We all needed that outfit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should have gone into production on that one.
Yeah.
Yep,
Well,
but-
some of my more popular ones I am making into cards,
right.
and just slowly getting them into shops, and that's always a bit of a I don't know. I'm not popular in style like a lot of young people are. I do belong to an illustrators group that do children's books, and they tend to all have the same kind of look, the same type of cartoony style or illustration style. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. And I really don't run with the herd.
Yeah. I don't either, Rose. Not at all.
So, I mean, when I bring my stuff to or send my designs to shops, they're going, well, this isn't something that I've seen before. And so they're kind of leery. And that's been me throughout history. So I've been around for, 60 odd years. It's always been a bit of a trial. But then again, that's art for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be different. And, well, being different, I wouldn't say trying, just being different and coming up with something that people might not have seen before.
Mhm.
I'm not a trend follower either, so
yeah,
I do run into the same issue. My work is very colorful, and it's not laid out in the same way as many other people, many other artists, and I'm like, it's true to me, and that's all that matters. I enjoy making what I make, and I don't expect everybody to be drawn to it. If you are, fantastic. If you're not, that's okay too.
so the cartoons aren't the only thing I do. Another thing I'm popular for are wonky buildings.
Yes.
And I just distort the architecture and emphasize the uniqueness of the building. So that's completely different from the cartoons. And then I also do, I just recently did a illustration in graphite of some miners, and it's realistic. And again, people are just like, whoa, that's cool. But it's so different from what the cartoons.
Right.
Yeah.
And so in other words, I don't, because of my commercial art background, I do things in the style that the subject warrants and what the client might want. And then again, that just makes me so, as far as gallery work, they hate that when you do more than one style.
That doesn't make sense to me at all. From a marketing perspective, that really should be a strength and not a weakness. And the marketer in me, that frustrates me. Sorry, Kathleen, you were going to say something as well.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, you just gotta keep following what works best for you, and it's not always gonna resonate with other people. And I'm the same. No gallery would want what I create. It's just not. Well, I shouldn't say that. If it was a show that sort of catered to it, sure. But for the most part, it wouldn't be considered fine art.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's not that typical look that you do see in a gallery.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you both will be in Place des Arts Gallery starting next week.
Which is lovely.
Yes. We're hanging everything up on Sunday because, everything should be hung on a Sunday. And and then I think it opens the following Friday, but it's open for 2 months.
Right.
And people can make an appointment and go see it in person if they'd like at Place des Arts. But it'll also be online, and we have this that will be online, so people can watch this over and over again if they'd like, really. And so I just want to thank both of you for participating. Your artwork is a little bit not for galleries, but we think they're perfect for our collection and our historical look at COVID. So thank you both so much.
And thank you.
Yes, this was a wonderful opportunity.